We need to talk about Africa. And you may not like what I'm about to say. The truth is that as a Black American man, I've traveled extensively through Africa for many years now, and there's been some things that I put off, things that I shouldn't have put off, but I did. And I'm here to go ahead and talk about it. We have the good, we have the bad. I've spoken about the good. Today we're talking about the bad. But before we get into it, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. This is going to push me up in the algorithm. Y'all see we back into the videos. So make sure you guys check out the links in the description if you guys want more content like this. I do a lot of videos on Patreon. Unfortunately, they hate me on YouTube. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Since I've been traveling inside of Africa, I have realized that there is a beauty inside of this continent, right? There's a beauty in the continent of Africa. You can definitely tell that this continent of Africa was created by a God. For instance, we have the animals, the wildlife. We have the beautiful culture. We have the beautiful people. We have the red dirt. And you say to yourself, how can dirt be beautiful? But that's how God made it. Then we have the black sand. And you say, how can sand be black and still so beautiful when it touches this blue water? It just looks amazing. There's so many amazing things that have been created inside of Africa. And you can tell that a God has been inside of this continent and has made these things. But the one thing I don't see God doing inside of Africa is putting on for the African people. And I'm here to tell you today, God is not coming to save you. If you are an African person, God is not coming to save you. Truly, the only time that I have ever seen Africans get saved by anyone in Africa is when they're putting in the hard work, when they're building communities to help each other, and when they are being revolutionists. This is the only time I've truly seen Africa benefiting from a God. And I'm here to tell you guys today, and I'm not one of these pro-conscious people either. I'm just here to tell you this. Truly, there must be a God inside of you because God equals creation. God is supposed to be a creator. And when your God isn't creating a way for you to live in a world that is worth living, then you wonder to yourself, who are you praying to? See, I've seen in Nepal, and that's not in Africa, but I've seen Kenya, I've seen Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, Sudan. I've seen the history of Ethiopia and the Zulus. I've seen so many Africans create a lane so that African people can live the way that they're truly meant to live. And this is what I can say is what a God truly does. This is what I can say a God truly does. See, there's so many people that go to church and pray inside of Africa, but the only person I've seen get benefited from the prayer is the damn pastor that's getting all that money to buy his Mercedes Benz. This happens in Africa all the time. And you think to yourself, we're in a cycle that is not ending. And the only true way to end this may be from action. It doesn't mean that your God is not real. It just means that the way we view God could be completely different from how we're supposed to be viewing God. God equals creation. God equals action. Maybe the only way that you can truly access God is when you truly look inwards and you put in the action. Action may be better than prayer. Because I've seen so much creation, so much revolution happen inside of so many countries across Africa when the people put in the work and create a lane. When Black Americans went through slavery, went through torture, beatings, whips, chains, all types of shit. The only time slavery stopped in America was when Black Americans said, you know what, enough is enough. I'm done being shackled, not just physically, but mentally too. Black Americans at a point in time in history broke free from the thought of Christianity and the thought of God. Black people, Black Americans said, we're going to be about that action and we're going to get to work and get things done. And that's when we see that slavery starts to dwindle down. That's when we see where Black people start to be able to break out of the chains, get some types of laws that are fit for them. And this is something that sparked a revolution across the world, right? So many people want to come to America right now because of the history of what our ancestors, our Black American ancestors have done for us to pave a way. So I'm just here to say that we're going to keep it at that. Number two, something that I wish I talked about earlier, but something that I've realized so long in Africa is that Africans constantly talk about how their birth rate is going up and they talk about that like that's a flex. But I say to myself, how can this be a flex? Yes, around the world, the birth rate is decreasing, Rightfully so. A lot of people shouldn't be having kids. This is a fact. But truthfully, when you really think down to the nit and grit of what's going on, Africans having a rising birth rate doesn't mean that they should be having kids. There's so many kids I see in Africa that are living in utter poverty. And I say to myself, this isn't the life that's worth living. And I will say this, I'm happy that the kids aren't too materialistic. I'm happy that the kids still seem to have a smile on their face. But when it comes to needing healthcare, when it comes to needing money because you need another kidney for your child, when it comes to needing money to put your kid in a good school, when it comes to needing money to put into your kid's future, into your offspring's legacy, the legacy of your family, your last name. When it comes to that, I have yet to see too many families in Africa that have truly prepared for this. I have yet to see it. And I'm thinking to myself, how is this possible? Because Africa is such a resourceful place. There's so many minerals, there's so many things that can be used, to make a way, but you have to keep in mind, it's not like the government is going to want to assist you. Africa, out of all the countries of Africa I've seen, the high majority of them, they're not trying to assist people with children. And even if your government is assisting you, you have to ask yourself, should I even be relying on the government in the first place? Because the government, as we know, these governments are greedy. Even in America, they always want something. So, yeah, having children isn't always a good thing. You guys can look in Makoko village and you guys can see in Nigeria where the kids are literally living in poop water, feces water, and they're swimming and they have to live and grow up in these harsh conditions. Then you see in Kibera inside of Kenya, you see the slums inside of South Africa. There's so many places I've seen throughout Africa that have so much poverty. And I'm asking myself, how can the parents of these African children be expecting them when they become grown to be a doctor or a lawyer? For all the parents, they say you need to be a doctor, you need to be a lawyer. But the parents, the African parents, have not created a lane or a way for their child to become an doctor or a lawyer. But still they expect so much. It's a disorder. It makes no sense at all. You see a lot of Africans come to America, they go to Europe, and the parents are still expecting that their child is supposed to go ahead and give them back money. You didn't plan to have your child, but yet you expect everything from your child because you failed. Let me repeat, you as an African parent expect everything from your African child because you as an African parent failed your child. You failed them. You didn't plan for the success. You have a lot of these older men, they go into these villages and they prey on the young women there. They go ahead and give the young woman a child and they tell the woman that, oh, this is going to be forever, baby. I love you so much. Lie to them and leave them with a bastard child. It's evil. You have a lot of women in Africa that say to themselves, oh, this guy, he likes me. I'm just going to trap him with the kid. It's disgusting. They do that in America too. It's a disgusting practice and it's wrong. Next, you have pan-Africanism. And to me, pan-Africanism is a joke. Let me tell y'all like this. I have seen too many issues inside of Africa, right? I've seen too many issues. But the one issue that hurts me the most as a Black American man is the fact that me and other people I know, when we initially had went over to Africa, our plan was to be with our people and build. This was the only mentality of myself and people I knew that were also going to Africa. When I first went to a certain country in Africa, after the first 2 days, I took an Uber to Subway, Eat Fresh, the sandwich place. This guy drives me to an alleyway at nighttime. And I asked him, I'm like, man, where are we going? I said, it's getting dark over here. The street lights is fading. I can't see the road. It's getting dark. What's happening? He's like, oh, I think I'm lost. I said, well, just take me back to my spot then, man. It's cool. He's like, okay, let me go down the street a little bit more. These guys start knocking on the window. Give me money, give me money. They're knocking on the window, asking me, they say, give me money or else, come on, give me money right now, give me money. And I'm looking at the dude and I said, hey, bro, I'm looking at the driver. I said, hey, bro, I know how you think this is going to go, but it's not going to go how you think it's going to go. And he tells me, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, it's not how you think it's going to go. And I could see the sweat drip off his brow. And I'm telling him, I'm like, take me back to the spot. He's like, and I know he wanted to unlock the door so that it can be like 10 on 1. I was surrounded in the car. It was so many people. And I know he wanted just to unlock the door so they can get whatever money they think they were going to get from me. But I told him, this isn't going to go how you think it's going to go. I looked him right in his eye and I let him know it's not going to go how you think it's going to go. It's not. And I think he saw the sincerity in my eye that he just knew it's not going to go how you think it's going to go, brother. And it would hurt me more than it's going to hurt you. Trust me. Trust me, because I didn't come to Africa for this. But there have been so many situations where I see my fellow Black Americans go to Africa and in their mindset, they're thinking to themselves, well, you know what? I'm trying to be with my people. I'm going to understand the African culture. I'm going to understand the African language and learn it. And you think to yourself, after all these years, what was it for? So many Black Americans are in Africa right now with nothing to show for it. No land, no property, no farms, no unity, no groups. And you think to yourself, how did this happen? One of the reasons is because when Black Americans go to Africa, typically they're going in small numbers and there's not really a plan. That's the first reason. But secondly, it's because Black Americans put so much trust inside of Africans, but because a lot of us truly look at Black Americans, a lot of us Black Americans truly look at Africans as our people. But unfortunately, a lot of times when we get there, we're treated as no more than a Mzungu, no more than somebody that is a distant cousin that you just ask money from. It's an inhuman feeling. It's not right. I've employed so many people in Africa, they've quit after a week, paying them fair wages. What do they ask me after 4 or 5 days? Hey, can I get some extra money because I'm like, damn, I already feed you a meal throughout the day. I feed my workers good food, not the regular fufu or ugali. I feed them good food to nourish their body because I'm appreciating their work. I give them good wages, 3 times the amount of what they usually give in corporations inside of Africa. But yet, what are we typically met with? Unprofessional workers. You give so many people a chance. I've given thousands of people a chance. Thousands, to no avail. It's unfortunate. And this doesn't mean that there's no professional Africans. This just means that it's extremely hard to find the ones that are truly serious about unity and truly understanding that this isn't about finessing or conning one another. This is about the future of the melanated society, the pan-Africanist race. This is about the future of us all. But a lot of the mentality was so messed up. It's come to a point where I had to really start digging into my history and thinking, well, why am I so pro-Black in the first place? Why am I so pan-Africanist mindset? Why am I like this? That's because I was raised with the understanding that the white man is the devil. White people are the devil. This is what we hear a lot inside of these communities. And to be honest, it's just not true. When Burkina Faso needed help, who came to the aid of Burkina Faso immediately when Ibrahim Traore was constantly going through threats? Yeah, we can say Mali, shout out to Niger. But when it came to the big countries in Africa, the big dogs, they stayed silent. They didn't say a peep. They didn't say a word. Shout out to the revolutionists inside of some of the African countries that assisted and went over to Burkina Faso just to provide aid and assistance. But we saw Russia. Russia came and opened a lending hand and said, if you touch Burkina, you touch Russia. You hear talk about North Korea and China also assisting Burkina Faso as well. Not to say they don't have their own ulterior motives, but my thing is to say that in history, we can see that Russia has done decent by Africans. We can see that they've done some good for Africans, so we can't speak too violently on them. But the truth is that we cannot say with this concept that the white man is the devil. I've been around the world. I've seen a lot of white people that are good people, and I'm starting to realize this is maybe how Malcolm X used to think too. Because I'm thinking to myself, before he was assassinated, I'm starting to think, oh shit, it's my time. Because I'm like, damn, he said a lot of this stuff as well. The only time he started to realize that, man, you know, they're not all bad is when he traveled all around the world. And he started to learn certain things. And that's what I learned as well. So, you know, even when it comes to dealing with other races of women, I'm starting to even think to myself, well, damn, we're already mixed. So if I got 1% white in me, which I do, I got 1% Irish or some shit, does that mean I'm also the white devil? Just because you see a white person, does this mean they're the white devil? I'm team intelligence. If I run into a person of any color and they're intelligent, they understand biology, they're humanitarian, they push peace over evil, that's a person I want to associate myself with. It's already hard to find peace in this life. So the FBA community, to me at this point, makes more sense than the Pan-Africanism community, because I'm seeing the FBA is pushing towards a goal. Pan-Africanism is chasing its tail in a circle. So yeah, that's where we at with it. You know, and the way my mindset works, y'all, you got all these scammers inside of Africa. You got ladies selling it inside of Africa, and you think to yourself, damn, you're driving and pulling up in Mercedes and you completely forgetting about your people. It's just such a big joke to me, because there's so much that I say to myself. I'm like, damn, you know, you're not even being Robin Hood. You're not even doing things for certain reasons. You're just doing wrong and doing more wrong. You completely forget about your people. For instance, when you see an African that's scamming or doing this stuff online, or, you know, fake print scams or whatever they're doing, you say to yourself, well, damn, why don't you give back some money to your people? But immediately they completely forget about their people. You made millions of dollars and you forget about your people. All you did was buy Mercedes Benzes. The ladies, all they did is buy a Gucci bag. They selling all that junk from their body. They go ahead and say, oh, let me go ahead and get a Gucci bag. It's disgusting. So anyways, y'all, I've been learning a lot from these past couple months. More videos like this inside of my Patreon, link in the description. I also have a group chat as well, link in the description. And until next time, we gone, man. Like, comment, subscribe. Holla!